Hello and welcome to this James the Bike Guy, where today we're getting a chance to take a look at a absolutely gorgeous brand new gravel bike from Salsa. Salsa is a pretty cool small manufacturer that makes some very neat gravel and adventure bikes, and today is the brand new and just released 2022 Salsa Warbird. And this baby is action-packed with some pretty cool features, plus it comes in this absolutely gorgeous berry color. So in this video, we're gonna go over the features and designs of this bike. We'll talk about how the frame was made, some of those as well. And then, of course, we're gonna find out exactly what it weighs. So if this kind of thing is interesting to you, I suggest just stick around and let's check out this brand new bike from Salsa together. The Salsa Warbird is their performance gravel bike in the Salsa lineup. Salsa is a manufacturer out of Minnesota that makes some very cool bicycles, all the way from some performance bikes to even some rowdy mountain bikes and things like that as well. And in their gravel lineup, the Warbird is the more performance-y version. But make no mistake, the performance-y bikes from Salsa are still really capable because they know how to make a bike that's going to be bike packing ready, adventure ready, but still make it sleek and lightweight. Salsa also makes the Cutthroat, which is a bit more capable, and then they make their War Road, which is a bit of an all-road kind of endurance to light gravel bike. But this bike is designed for gravel performance. You know, a bike that you might take to the Unbound gravel ride, do a big long event, or do something like the, Vermont D2R2 all on this rig. And for 2022, they've revised the bike. They've updated the whole setup here to have a really neat package. And to start, we'll check out the Salsa carbon frame. And this frame is absolutely gorgeous in the berry color that it's painted in. It's made using what they call their Warbird carbon, which is essentially a carbon blend that they have for the bike, utilizing something called interior junction control molding. Basically, I think that's some marketing terms for saying that they vary the thickness and the layup structure inside of this so that key areas are going to be stronger against impacts and other areas are going to be a bit lighter. They also do some work on it to be able to make the cable routing much smoother and much more integrated. Although you'll see on this one, there's not much in the way of cable routing. And that's because we're looking at the higher end variant, the one that comes with Force eTap. So this is a wireless drivetrain we'll get into a little later on. But they do sell this in a 2x Shimano mechanical GRX drivetrain, as well as another lower priced rival group set using SRAM's Axis wireless system. But the one we have here is the Gucci version, and up front is going to be the Warwing Deluxe fork. This Warwing Deluxe fork utilizes a tapered head tube with a Cane Creek bearing set, and then down on this carbon fork, you've got a triplicate pack mount on the side to be able to run a water bottle or fork bag, that sort of thing. You do have mounts to be able to do fenders. This is flat mount disc capable with 12 by 100 millimeter front through axle. And one small feature that I think is really neat is you'll see this little entry here. And of course you've got the entry for the hydraulic brake routing. But what is this for? Well, actually, if you go down, you'll see it's both got a little mount and then look there. That's the entry to be able to run a dynamo on the front and run the wire up to the handlebar, up to the setup for something like a USB charger right into the stem, or to run a light system as well. Now, speaking of other cool features, internal routing, of course, we said that before. You've got a top mount for a bento box. You've got two sets of water bottle mounts on the down tube, one set of water bottle on the seat tube. Of course, underneath the down tube right before the crankset is another water bottle mount. And then when we go to the back, you'll see this has the VRS Class 5 seat stays. Basically, this is a bowed seat stay, so if you look kind of up above, they go out almost like a wishbone, and that's going to allow some flex. You can see it right in my hands here to be able to absorb some vertical compliance, but still stay laterally stiff. Of course, through axle in the back, 12 by 142, nice chain stays with a little drop stay to be able to add some clearance for your 2x crankset up front. But this is rack as well as fender capable too. And it's a pretty nice little integration to the back because a lot of these more performance gravel bikes don't allow racking to be able to go on it, but this is set up with all of the mounts to be able to make that capable. Two more things to talk about. It's going to be the nitty-gritty of the geometry and then tire clearance. First off, you've got room for massive tires with 700 by 45 millimeter widths or a 650B by 2.0 width. And then when it comes to geometry, This bike has a stack of 584 millimeters and a reach of 381 millimeters. To compare that to something like the Trek Checkpoint SL series, it's going to be a significantly shorter reach and a slightly lower stack, with the Checkpoint coming in at 592 for stack and 407 millimeters for reach. But of course, geometry comes into your own personal preference. Moving into the cockpit of the bike, we've got some aluminum componentry, mostly from Salsa. So here is the cowbell handlebar. This handlebar has a bit of a back sweep to it. It's got a nice compact geometry and just an ever so slight sweep to be able to keep your hands nice and comfortable. Of course, it's connecting up via a Salsa guide stem, 31.8 bar clamp, and then out back is a WTB SL8 saddle mounted up on a Salsa guide C-post. Now this particular C-post is 27.2 millimeter in diameter, and it is set up for an internally cable routed dropper post. So if you wanted to run a dropper post on your gravel bike, you could put one onto it. Moving into the componentry, this is the top spec version with the SRAM Force drivetrain. So this is a wirelessly controlled shift lever and then hydraulic brakes. So right side button goes to harder gear, left button goes to an easier gear, or you hit both and it'll shift the 2x chain rings up front. Of course, when you pull back, the brake lever is going to operate 2-piston flat mount calipers on the front and the rear. And then moving into the drivetrain, we've got the Axis 2x setup. So this is going to be wireless driven that's operating through a cassette. This is a 12-speed drivetrain with a flat top chain going forward to a compact 43-32 front chainring combo. Now that front chainring combo is shifted by a wireless drivetrain just like the rear. The batteries are replaceable, but this Force drivetrain is pretty neat because you have a real interesting gear range, which is still going to give enough top-end speed, but it's going to give a ton of climbing capability. And of course, powering that forward and connecting it to the road through some 700C wheel set stock. So first we'll talk about the tires, the Terravale Cannonball 700x42. These are a tubeless ready tire that has their fast compound to it. You can see it's got a nice file tread with a pretty consistent centerline tread, and that should help with some of the faster rolling speeds. The 42 millimeter width still is giving some generous room in the frame for mud clearance. And then the wheel set that's on this bike is going to be really baller, at least in my opinion. This is the Whiskey Carbon number 9 GVL wheel set. This has a healthy width to it. It's carbon fiber, and then it's laced up through J-bend spokes to some DT350 hubs on the front and the rear. And that Whiskey wheel set rounds out a really nice part spec on this awesome Warbird. Now, of course, this bike is performance oriented, but it has all the capability of doing some bike packing adventures as well. So it's pretty neat to see. But now let's find out exactly what it weighs. The actual weight of the Salsa Warbird in a size 56 centimeter is coming in and weighing 20.1 pounds. Thanks so much for watching this video on the 2022 Salsa Warbird. Go ahead and let me know what you think about this new Warbird from Salsa. I hope you found it as interesting as I did, and man, I really hope the camera shows off just how gorgeous this berry color is. And with that, leave those comments down below, hit subscribe, and see you in the next video.